Thank you so much, Gillian, for joining me today on the Story Bar podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here with me.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to it.
Tell our listeners about how we actually got in touch and how we decided on this interview because it's such an interesting story for them. So, if you could just elaborate.
It's kind of like internet dating, but for professionals, finding contacts. You, whenever you're working with someone, you know, kind of, okay, this is the type of client I'd like to have, or I'd like to have more clients in this segment. But then actually going out and getting them is takes a lot of time. And so we just were able to build an avatar to reach out to potential clients for us or just contacts like you. I just wanted to be a contact with you because I thought you had really cool content to share. And so you can kind of put all that in. And then when the avatar reaches out, it has a workflow. It does things that you would do as a human, whether you would like someone's page or comment on an article they've posted or send them a direct message and ask to connect. So we're able to do genuine human activities at a much faster rate using the avatars, which ultimately brings us to these moments, the moments where we're actually human to human connecting and talking with each other.
This is so lovely. And I have to tell everyone that not for a moment I felt that this is an AI talking to me. Now, if you could take us through your journey into marketing, tell us about Broken Glass Ceiling, that would be lovely.
I started my career I've been saying 20 years ago, but it's probably more like 25 now, if I'm honest with the calendar, just as a traditional marketer. And it was really fun to meet new clients, work with them on their challenges, find solutions for them. And each solution that we found was different, but they had similar components, but we could refigure them different ways. So it just kept my brain very active. I was excited to go to work every day. I just really liked what I did. And then when COVID happened, everything just went very quiet. Folks scattered to their
Yeah.
four corners of the world. Great resignation, there it is, where everyone was kind of quitting their jobs. And I think it
Yeah.
was just kind of a natural rebirth for everyone. It was just okay, we've hit pause on the world and now we're rebirthing. And so when the things came back online, not only had I discovered that I was an introvert. I thought I had was an extrovert my whole life because that's what you had to be in order to get new clients. You had to be out at conferences, you had to be at the coffee shop meeting people. So I didn't realize I had forced myself into that role. So coming out of COVID, I wanted to get my business back up and going. And my plan was to do the exact same business I'd done already. And not only had it been successful, but I'd already rebuilt it once after '08 when we had our financial recession here in the US. I was not nervous in any capacity that it would be any different this time around. And month after month went by, and I wasn't getting the traction back to the same status that business I had before. And it was just very frustrating to me to be doing something that had worked previously and then now isn't. So I kind of had a moment of having to accept that I needed to do something different. And then once I accepted it, it was, oh gosh, what do I do now? What are those steps? And then once I realized what those steps were, it was, oh no, I do not want to do this. No way, no how I'm going to find another way to do this. I spent a couple months down that road, my business continuing to flounder, not growing, realizing, okay, I'm out of time. But I still didn't want to do the tasks I didn't want to do, which was cold call new folks. I didn't want to have to look around online, find their contact information. I didn't want to have to call them, leave voicemails. I didn't want to have to come up with content for an email and then have to cut and paste it and make sure I changed the name to the right person to send. I just didn't want to do any of that, but I knew that's what I needed to do to regrow my business. So at that point, AI was coming on the scene. And if you'd
Yeah.
asked me at that point, what's AI? Is it cool? Is it going to be here? I would have said it's the fidget spinner. It'll be here today, gone tomorrow. It's not going to be, just don't pay attention to it. And so in my moment of desperation, when you have no other option, you're willing to give things a try that you normally would have never even entertained. And so I was able to find some AI tools to help me do those tasks of rebuilding my business, but they didn't do it at the same level that I would have done it, meaning the content that you could get from Chat GPT at that time, it didn't align with how I would say something, to say nothing of how I would scale that to speak on behalf of multiple clients.
Yeah.
All my clients have a different brand voice, a different brand story. So the way that I would write a content for on behalf of Broken Glass Ceiling is not how some one of my clients would write for one of their businesses because it's just a different voice. And so, okay, how do I then, as an introvert, put myself into this different mindset to write all this individual content for all these clients at the rate at which we have to pump them out to keep demands with social media and that sort of thing. And after searching and searching, I just could not find tools that did it the way I wanted it done. So I just rolled up my sleeves like Rosie the Riveter and said, "We're going to build this." And
Wow.
my team was so patient with me because we would build and fail and tweak and iterate and do it again. And I was just pushing, pushing to get to this point that we're at now where I was really happy with them. And it was frustrating. We were all learning new systems. We were all learning. OpenAI was not something I'd ever played with or knew how to do before. So it's one thing when you're trying to do something yourself, and then you came and teach your team how to help you. You're all learning at the same time. So it was a very frustrating, but I'm really thrilled and very proud of the tools that we've built. Originally, it was just for my business. I just wanted these to help me get back to where I was in 2020. It never occurred to me along the way that I was actually building my business was building itself right before my eyes without me even knowing it. It was in that business was instead of being a chef that opens a restaurant because I like cooking, it became a business that offers all the tools to businesses that I didn't want to do in my business.
Super. I think this is very interesting and very relatable to a lot of people out there. And uh, Gillian, broken glass ceiling. Now, the name itself is so powerful. If you could, help me understand why did you decide on this name? And I also saw something else that I found interesting on your profile. It did not read Gillian as the CEO, but as the SheEO. So, I think you sort of explained that the company built itself. So if you could just throw some light on that.
So when I was starting my business back after COVID, I knew that not only did it need to be bigger and better than what I built before, that was just a challenge to myself. I didn't know what that bigger or better was going to be. I just knew that that was going to be, what I wanted. And then I also really wanted to just blow the roof off of it. And that's where the ceiling came from. I call it a post-it party. When I'm trying to brainstorm something for myself, I just write things out on post-it notes and put them on the wall and just kind of see. And blow the roof off was one of the things I had written on the post-it note. And then I also wanted to show to myself and everyone, you can rebuild yourself and it can be absolutely fantastic. And so that's kind of where the break, you'd have to like break the glass ceiling. And then being a female, it just further aligned with all of that. But it was really more to just blow the roof off what's the thought behind it. I didn't know
Wow.
what roof I was blowing off or how I was going to do that. That was just the energy and the feeling that I had. And so then the SheEO part came in. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she also owns her own business, which she just started hers this summer. And I really wanted to inspire her that you can do big things as a woman. You can hold these titles. You can build a business. And so and then CEO just kind of came out, and I said, no, let's say SheEO.
Wow.
So it's just another thing that just kind of did itself.
Every organization, every corporate is taking diversity, inclusion, women empowerment very seriously. But these things actually begin at the home, right? This begins
Mhm.
with the mother, this begins with the daughter, with the sister. And this is how we empower the people we know, the women we know around us. Like people are fundamentally creative, I was just going through something, I was just reading something, and it said that even when you're stuck in traffic and you decide to take a different route, at that moment you're being creative. And I think in our everyday conversations, LinkedIn and jargon heavy conversations, we forget these fundamental things. So I think, Gillian, this is a beautiful story and it's definitely going to inspire a lot of people out there. Moving forward, Gillian, now when a company is being built and multiple things are coming together, right? And there is this challenge of building a team, there is this challenge of conveying your vision to the team, there is this challenge of capital. So How was it like in the beginning?
I am not a tech person. So everything about this journey just shows me that it was a journey I was led to be on, not one that I created along the way or for myself in any way. If you gave me an iPhone and I didn't already know how, I couldn't use it. I'm just not a techie person. I have to Google everything to know how to do it. I can hardly turn the TV on. So it was definitely the challenge. And then find realizing that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to reach out to people who have this talent, but then knowing how do you vet them? How do you know if this person I'm meeting with to do this programming is really a good programmer? Because I'm not a good programmer, so I don't know what to look for. So that was kind of, I guess, the second part of the challenge was being in an area that I had no expertise, but then knowing how to find the right people. The
Yeah,
third part of the challenge was as a leader, I've always been one who I'm not going to ask my team to do something I haven't done myself or that
yeah,
I don't know how to do or that I'm
yeah,
not willing to like roll my sleeves up and do myself. This, I had to just be honest with my team as I hired them and said, we're working in something that I don't even know how to do. We're all learning together. A good example of that is we use GHL as our CRM. And I didn't know how to use GHL. My assistants that I hired had worked in Salesforce or Zoho or things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
They'd never worked in GHL. So we were on YouTube together. So just being comfortable, being uncomfortable, learning how to do new things. That was probably the biggest challenge. I am so incredibly blessed to have my team. And I know every business owner says that, and I'm sure they mean it. I truly mean it because when we started this business, I thought I was just hiring one assistant just for myself to help me kind of just get things started and do. So that was when I interviewed with him and he asked basically, what's my job going to be? You're going to be my assistant. You're going to help me look around for new contacts. You're going to help call them, cut and paste emails, just all the stuff that our tools do now. And I told him it's only going to be a temporary thing. You're not going to have to manage anybody. I don't really need you to be creative because I'm going to come up with all the content I need. So the way I presented the job and what he does now, he now manages our staff. He's my chief of staff. He hires all of our new employees when they come on board. He manages them. He keeps me on updated on their projects. He keeps them going on task on their projects. So it's a very different role. And along the way, as we've had challenges, one of the challenges that we had was with our LinkedIn connecting tool. It wouldn't work with Excel sheets. And
Yeah.
so we were working to build a fix for that. But in the interim, we had to get all this data into LinkedIn until we could automate it. And I didn't think I would need someone to ever do that. And so he very quickly went to his resource bank of people, found someone who had that expertise and brought him on our team. And then as our world has changed and our client needs have changed, now that person works on our Facebook, on our Meta integrations. So everyone on my team has been so good at uh, embracing change, learning new things, utilizing their previous skills to new things. So Gene, my chief of staff, he's extremely creative. He loves people. He's a good 30,000 foot person. He can handle things very good at that range. And so
Wow.
when you think about it, it really any widget you could kind of fit in and out. He helps my daughter with her business. He does with mine. So having a team that's very comfortable being vulnerable, working together. They share. I see them in the chats, and they're chatting with themselves all day long, asking ideas and sharing things. And have you ever done anything like this before? Or between which data tools do you like better? Do you like Data Axle or Zoom Info better? Like so, they're constantly collaborating together, which is what it takes for us to
Yeah.
ultimately come up with the best outcome in the end.
Of course, yeah, yeah, correct. And after all these years in marketing, Gillian, would you say that technology is a limitation for content marketers, especially? Would you still say that, or do you think, I mean, what do you think?
Technology is in the sense if we look at it from the soft technology, meaning all the different platforms, all the different places where your potential clients are. As marketers, we want to meet our clients where they are. That was easy when they were sitting at a desk at a physical address. Now, meeting them where they are is on Twitter or in a hammock on or on LinkedIn or through text message because they've been an email for all corporate life. They hate email. They only do text message now. So finding them in all these different platforms and then creating content that's appropriate for that platform size. Then, so not only do you come up with the initial idea, then you've got to revamp, redress that idea to fit into these different places. That takes even more time. And so, what most companies, at least what I did, was I just didn't do it. I may come up with one piece of content and post it on LinkedIn, but I definitely wasn't retooling it to fit on all the other platforms like I should. And so that was, I realized, was really hurting my business, but it takes time and you have to just honestly have the desire. So having our tool, which works with OpenAI to write in our clients' unique brand voices to create this content for them in 20 seconds, then we know the work is getting done, it's getting done consistently, and it's ultimately providing the backbone of what they need to do what they want to do, which is what their skill set is,
Yeah.
meeting with
Yeah.
our clients.
Correct, correct. You are someone who's definitely leveraging AI's maximum like potential, and there's so much more. There's so much more that could be done, and then there are people who are still hesitant to, I would say, collaborate with AI because they are still looking at AI as a threat. And I would not want to mince my words. I have been there at that point that I felt that okay, ChatGPT cannot write like me. I can only
Mm-hmm.
give prompt. And it took us a while to even learn how to write the prompt correctly. So,
Yes.
in a way, I felt it was a two-way street. You felt as a writer that the chat GPT could not do your job, but the chat GPT actually made you learn how to write the briefs correctly. So to me, it's such an amazing process. It's an extraordinary journey, I would say. So today, if I talk about myself, I don't hate AI. I love AI when it comes to creating content, and there is a time constraint. But sometimes I just love how it makes my job easy. But there are still people who are struggling with that idea, and especially writers who have been in the field of journalism or core, core fields that require core writing skills. So what would you tell them?
I'm so glad that you bring this up, especially the prompt writing, because that is a nerd tunnel I don't get to go down very frequently in podcasts, but it is absolutely key to the success of ChatGPT. And when you come at it from, or OpenAI in general, and so when you come at it from that perspective, that highlights the partnership. That highlights that this tool is not going to go off and think for itself and do something crazy. It's going to be the best trained dog. If you tell it to sit, it's going to sit every time you say sit, but you have to go through the training. How many people do you know that have poorly trained dogs? They're jumping all over you. They're not, so it's the same thing. But it's a partnership. You have to let your dog know what you expect, and then they have to give you that result. Same thing with OpenAI. With our prompts, we have to tell it what we expect, and then it will gladly do that for us every time. So that was a learning process, talking about all the different things I've had to learn and how many hours I've stayed up at night tweaking things. Because then you I'm gonna nerd out really a lot here for a minute, but you're limited in your output from Chat GPT. So how do I get what I needed with my company was I needed cut and paste level content, things that my team could cut and paste for our clients, and we know it was going to be consistent. How do we do that when we need 800 words and we need it written in this way, and the prompt takes 30% of our output? We're not getting the full. So those were just super nerdy technology things to work through, but learning how to code correctly, learning how to write those things so that we did get consistent output. Then we had the next challenge was getting our clients to believe that it was going to not be crazy and rogue each time. Get them to trust that every time they said sit, the dog was going to sit, and they didn't have to look over their shoulder and see was it running across the street or was it doing something. But that takes people accepting change. And so whenever we approach something new as humans, we naturally are skeptical. It's not going to work. And then I don't want to go through the emotional and mental strain of having to make a change. There's that. And then there's the fear, oh gosh, let's say that I go through all this and it works and then it replaces me. So I don't even want to start. That's where a lot of my clients that I talk with, that's kind of been their thought process with it. But I bring you back to the point how you started this, the prompting, the collaboration. And so that's why I say that AI is just the instrument. We as humans will remain the composers. We have to tell it what a horn can just lay there on the flat on the ground, or a drum can just lay there. It won't do anything
Yeah.
if no one composes the music and if no one learns how to play the instrument. So it definitely is a partnership.
Right, and I think we have learned so much as marketers in this process. It's super interesting, and I think we're learning every day how to use AI better and how to collaborate better. So that's really an interesting part of the entire narrative when it comes to balancing AI and human touch. Also, Gillian, you have been talking a lot about human storytelling and how AI can actually be a game changer in this. But uh, currently, I feel still a lot of people are not convinced about this. They still feel that the empathy we are talking about, the human emotions that we talk about, that is not going to come through AI. But again, what's your perspective on this? Because again, coming back to the beginning of our conversation, how we connected, that was AI, but it felt completely human.
So in storytelling, you have the content, the story, but then you also have the delivery of the person telling the story. So those are, if I had to identify the two main parts of storytelling and marketing, it's those two things. Okay, so how do we translate that into AI? The content, that's a challenge in itself with getting OpenAI to write how you want it to write. But then once you solve that, how do you get the body language, so to speak? How do you get that, the delivery? How do you get that feeling? And so that was one thing that we did put a lot of thought into. And what we did was we just kept lists of ourselves. When we're on LinkedIn, how do we engage with people? How do we wish we could engage with them if we had 24 hours in a day? Would I send them a message for their birthday every year? Would I like every post that they put? Like, what would I genuinely do as a person? So that's the action part of the storytelling. And we just built it into an avatar that could do both. Utilizing our content creator tool, we could get the story that the avatar delivers once it connects with someone, and then to create the empathy, to create the connection, having it actually do the action that we would do. And so on LinkedIn, I always use the billboard analogy. When you're driving down the road and you see a cool billboard, you think to yourself, oh, that's a cool billboard. Or you may say to the person riding with you, oh, did you see that billboard? It was really cute. But you oftentimes don't call the company and say, oh, I was driving down the road. I saw your billboard. Super cool. Kudos there. Enjoy your day. You don't do that. And so we were treating LinkedIn and many social platforms in that same billboard of a way. We were just posting stuff and then just driving by and not driving by the feed and not saying anything. But as a human, we would want to. We just didn't really have time to stop and kind of get stuck in it. So we wanted to have a tool that did both, that delivered the content that we would say as humans, but then also translated it through the same actions we would genuinely do.
I am actually imagining myself doing this, and I can tell you for a fact that it is making me believe in what you're doing. And I think it is already making a lot of impact, as we discussed before diving into the conversation. So it would be great, Gillian, if you could share some of your, success stories, because that will help people understand how is it helping other business owners or entrepreneurs. How is it actually helping them?
On the surface, the most probably I think superficial thing is just getting new clients, getting more clients for your business. If you have a sales team that you're entrusting to do cold calls and emails, are they really doing it? Are they doing it consistently? Are they doing it effectively? So are we getting the best bang for our buck? So on the surface, all the tools are for getting clients. But what I've realized is that, and especially in meeting you and other folks that my avatar have helped me reach all over the world, the knowledge share, which has helped my business grow. It has connected me with other business owners, and I can help their business grow, even if it's not AI based, just knowledge share, just talking with each other and having a true global community. I thought I had a global community prior. I thought I have a client in Zimbabwe, or I have a client in But I didn't truly have a global community like I have right now that helps me understand things from a different perspective, helps me see different challenges that I maybe don't see from my seat here and how we can build to meet those. It has just been an eye opener as a business owner. If I talk about the 30,000 foot view of the benefit, which is something I wouldn't have had unless I just spent hours and years in conferences, sitting around big 8 foot tables with cups of tea and water and chatting. It's been able to really accelerate that process.
How would you say marketing has changed, and how would you say marketing has not changed in your 25 plus years of, career and whatever you have observed so far?
What has not changed is people's human desire to feel appreciated, to feel like this person who's contacting me, they know my challenge, they know my needs, and they already have thought about, they've spent time out of their day in their life to think about a solution. I am special. I am important. It kind of comes back to that scene in The Help where she's given the little girl her pep talk. You're smart, you're kind. We all want to feel like that in our personal lives, but also as customers, we want businesses to make us feel like that. And so when everyone was kind of on the same playing field and they had a desk in a building and we were all pretty much living the same lifestyle. We were getting up, we were fighting traffic to get to work and then fighting traffic to get home and pick up our dry cleaning. But now everyone's living very different lives. So as marketers, how do we know what their challenges are? And then once we've identified the challenge, how do we meet them where they are and on what platform they're on? And so that just really makes the task such a heavier lift and where AI can really take away I don't want to say redundancy because that really dilutes it, but can take away a lot of the tasks of, okay, let me post this, let me write this one piece of content and then retweak it to go into these different, to fit
Yeah.
these other platforms so you can meet your audience. So what hasn't changed is people's desire to be connected with.
Mm.
What has changed is how we connect with them and the rate at which we connect with them.
Right, right. And what are some of the trends apart from, AI blending in so well in marketing as well now? Apart from that, what are some of the trends you're closely looking at and you think that they're about to, bring a shift?
The biggest trend I'm seeing across all different verticals is doing old things better. Whether it is
Yeah.
how to button your cardigan. How do you wear your
Mhm.
cardigan? We all would wear our cardigans the same way. There's tons of TikTok videos about, oh, do I button the second bottom button up to the second to the bottom's buttonhole and then or wear it upside down back, like all these different things, but it's common things. It's things that we've done forever. And so just translate that across all industries, making things we've done forever, making things that are old, doing them in fun new ways. And that's another way where AI lets us scale quickly. Once we come, okay, let's think of, we can use AI to help us say, what are 7 ways to wear a sweater? And it may get 3 of them right. But then that gets, as a human, that gets your brain thinking, oh, what if I did this small change? What if I did this? So going back to AI as a tool to help grow the human creativity that's going to always be needed. We're never going to replace it, but having it collaborate with AI in a way to help things grow and meet people where they are, absolutely.
Right. And just, trying to understand from this perspective, Gillian. Now, somebody who has been through this journey, as in somebody, suppose who is 21-year old or 22 years old, and thinking about starting a career in marketing, and this is the time when AI comes into the picture. Now, if you had to share a message with that person who is thinking about starting a career in marketing, but now there's just overload of information, overwhelming, because suddenly it was all writing and email marketing and product marketing and customer marketing, and suddenly it's like AI. So, what would you tell that person?
I would tell them not to look at it any differently than when they first thought about it, because what we're doing is those same native things. We're just able to do them at a speed that we couldn't do them before, and we're able to scale in ways we couldn't do before. But the same original content, the same original idea, the strategy still has to be created by a human. but then we can utilize these tools to just do it faster. So I would say not to think about it any differently. Go into it with the same excitement that you are going to be needed and purposeful, and your ideas have a place, and your contributions have value because they absolutely do. But you're going to be able to share those faster and at a broader reach.
Wow. And what would you tell a CMO?
To now buckle up, because now you really have to come up with some strategy. Now you really have to be a human, because a lot of the times the CMOs I worked with, they were proofreading things, or they were trying to kind of make sure projects were on task. They weren't actually coming up with a lot of the strategy that you need to be a CMO. And so now that those tasks are when you're working with a content creator and you know that you're going to get consistent output, you no longer have to proofread that. When you know that you don't have to manage a team of 17 people for all your different social media platforms because one person can post it for all, it really shifts that and takes away those, I don't want to say busy tasks, but the noise in the job, and lets you come back to why you're a CMO. And that's to really make change and to come up with strategy and move your business forward.
Awesome. Gillian, it's been lovely listening to you today. And I think this year in itself has been very exciting when it comes to the trends that we have seen around AI and marketing, coming together, and not just marketing, but in all aspects of the business, right? And 2025 is also going to be super exciting. And before we conclude, I would love to know, what are you looking forward to, especially for Broken Glass Ceiling?
Broken Glass Ceiling has been a journey that I feel like a passenger on. Broken Glass Ceiling, she has built herself along the way with things I didn't even know that I was going to be doing if you'd asked me, if we'd had this interview a year ago. So I fully expect that we will be doing something and building something that I don't even know about at this time. Working with my clients and coming up with solutions to help meeting them where they are to come up with solutions is what drives our development here. But what I love about the development that we do, that we bring to our clients, is the human aspect that it gives them. It gives them time with their kids. I had one customer reach out to me and she said she was a CMO, and she said she would spend so much time at home at night proofreading content, making sure, because she knew she had to hold the bag for it if something didn't get out on time or didn't read correctly or didn't convey. And so she spent a time, and yes, she was at home, yes, she was around her kids, but she wasn't really present with them. She was on her laptop trying to get things done because during the day she was in meetings all day. And so having time to do that, when she called, you wouldn't have thought, oh, I got to hang out with my kids today, or I got to go to my son's basketball game. You wouldn't think, as a business owner, hearing your client tell you that would be so monumental, but it really was for me. And then I had another one of my clients. He was kind of in a similar place I was, trying to rebuild his business from COVID, getting new clients because the ones he had before had kind of scattered to the four corners of the world. And he was struggling. He had mortgaged his house, he'd borrowed money from his in-laws. He not only doesn't, as a business owner and a human, when you don't have money to provide for your family, that's stressful. But then when you don't know how to fix it, and when you don't know, you don't see a way out, that's even more stressful. And so utilizing our tools gave him the exposure at the speed he needed. We were able to create the content that made sense and then get it out there fast enough that we were able to save his business from bankruptcy. And just as a human, you never want to have to see someone else hurting or suffering when they're talented. And that's if I had to kind of say what is consistent with all of my clients, they're different size businesses. Some of them are independent sellers at large companies. Some of them are entrepreneurs at small companies. But at the end, they are all people who are trying to do something awesome. Whatever their talent is, they're trying to do that talent. And what's holding them back, what's keeping the world from learning about them, what's keeping the world from being exposed to the gift that they're truly trying to share, is those steps in between. Getting getting this person and this person connected so that this story can be shared.
This is real impact. This is
Mhm.
real AI plus human collaboration, I would say, and it's just amazing. And in fact, I'm going to definitely share this with my CMO, because all that you said about that lady struggling with, we see them struggling every day, and they're trying to always
Mhm.
find that balance. It's a lot for a human. So
It is.
So, how you're making it easier is what I love the most about broken glass ceiling, and you're actually breaking a lot of glass ceilings in that sense. So, I
Thank
wish
you.
you, yeah, I wish you all the best for this venture, Gillian. I thank you so much once again for, joining me today. It's been incredible learning about your journey in marketing, and the kind of things that inspire you to do what you're doing right now. I think that in itself is a very big inspiration.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and share and help people see that AI can make the human experience that much better versus scary.